talking of courage, I would like to invite someone who has been guiding us throughout the journey, from dreaming about this place to putting the last cruise in the Frontiers exhibits. Let's welcome Chairman of Secure Meters, Trustee of Dharohar, Sanjay sir, to share his journey with all of us.
Ma Pradab, Dada, Papi. It's an emotional day. It's emotional because of what this place has turned out to be. And all the effort that has gone to bringing it together. As Dada said, it links back to our late father and the fact that he worked relentlessly not only to grow business in Udaipur, but also to give back to society. And that tradition, thankfully, continues. And Third Space is just one more step in that journey. Where did this start? It started with the abysmal state of school and college education in India, where curiosity, the desire to learn, the ability to ask questions is systematically destroyed by the school system. And without curiosity, there is no learning. And that remained the starting point for this program. In 2012, Secure through Dharohar started a program called Khoj, which took science to schools. And it became very popular. It delivered a lot, but it remained a small program which was benefiting about 100 schools at a time. And then as we engaged with the education community and the community at large, we thought there was a real need for the nation to develop resilient communities. So the bigger goal really is resilient communities. And what are resilient communities? Resilient communities are ones that can take care of one another at all times. And that taking care comes from networking, meeting people, and fraternizing with people who are like-minded. The other important aspect is continuous, lifelong learning. And for that, one needs to be always curious. So we have to go in the direction opposite to where schools and colleges take youngsters. Given that this was the size of the problem, the point was, what should we do? As I told you, we had this Khoj Schools program. It taught us a lot. It taught us about what children wanted. We even had a board of children. Nobody above the age of 12 could be a part of that board. And the kids told us what they wanted. We then did some research by running what we call Third Space Mini at two malls, one at Celebration Mall for a while, and lately at Lake City Mall. Some of you may have been there. That's where activities which aroused curiosity were run, and that became a real research center for finding out what the people of Udaipur and the youngsters of Udaipur wanted. That led to another board of directors, we just call them space sparkers. People who had the spark to develop Third Space. And by listening to this group of youngsters, who are now 18, 17, 16 years old, we learned that we needed to take a different direction. They wanted us to create a space which would allow them to mess up. If you're at home, you can't mess up. If you're at work, you can't mess up. If you're at college, you can't mess up. Where do you go to try your ideas? Can there be a space where if you make mistakes, nobody is there to challenge you and say, what did you do there? You can just make mistakes. And that was how Third Space was born. It's not home, it's not school, it's not college, it is just a third space. And here you will meet a lot of people who want to do just that. What happens is, there is that weird period when you're out of school and not yet in college, when you're out of college and not yet in a job. Spending time is hard. And that's where a lot of youngsters go wrong sometimes. If they could find what floats their boat, if they could find their passion, if they could play around with things they liked, maybe they will be better citizens, leading to more resilient communities. So we distilled all this research from Third Space Mini and came up with this idea. And we went around looking all around the world to say, has anybody done this before? We found science centers, we found art galleries, we found cultural centers, but we didn't find a third space. So we ended up having to work in an area which nobody had trod before. And when you do that, you are always doubting your own judgments. Why is it that I'm the only one who has this idea? Why have other people not had this idea before? Surely there are more, this sort of a problem is out there. But then, like my father did, he had the courage of his convictions, and whether somebody had done it before or not, he just went ahead and followed the courage of his convictions. And so, Third Space was born. This is directed specifically at the age group of 18 to 35. Why 35? 35 is the age where people will typically have young children whose brains and curiosity will be being shut down by the school system. They are the ones who need to understand that life is more than marks on a mark sheet. They have to have that exposure. So that then became our target audience. And what you see here is what our space parkers told us we needed to do. The architecture of this place is unique, but it is not unique. It is inspired by Udaipur. All our Havelis had big open courtyards like this one. They had gokhadas where people could sit and do their thing, and this building is replete with that, where people can just be together and do what they like. What you see today is a partial opening of Third Space. There is a lot more to come. Within the Frontiers Gallery, there is a space dedicated to biotechnology and to the moral issues that biotechnology raises. There is a cinema hall, which will not compete with the PVRs and the Inoxes of this world. It'll be something different to do with cinema. There is a performing arts theater coming up, which will seat 150 odd people, where artists from Udaipur can perform and do their thing. And of course, this place is replete with places where youngsters, say who are fond of music or dance or art, can just come and do their thing. In a certain way, we're also making a difference to the school system by providing laboratories that schools are not able to provide. But laboratories with a difference. When I went to college, the practical periods were copying somebody else's experiments. This one's going to be different. There is no model to copy. You've just got to do it. So there's a laboratory coming up. There's a creche coming up for parents who want to go around this place but have young children and can't spend the time. And while we were doing all this intellectual stuff, we could not ignore the physical side of things. So what you see behind you, over on that side, is a climbing wall, a bouldering wall. Upstairs is a space for parkour. And I didn't realize that parkour and skateboarding would be something very popular in Udaipur, but there is a parkour community, and they have nowhere to go. There is a speed climbing community, and they have nowhere to go. So there is that aspect which is included here. So, in essence, what Third Space is trying to do is bring together science, art, and culture all in one place at a very, very affordable and open price. And by Radaji's Ashirwad and by the Ashirwad of all the elders sitting in front of me, we have started. This is the start of a journey. It is not the end. Thank you very much.